First of all, welcome to St Clare, and thank you for Sarah for hosting us. Hope you enjoyed your lunch, and Clive, the Chairman of Harlow Council, thank you very much for coming along with your really good one. So, if you enjoyed your lunch, I'll tell you the story why you're eating lunch today. So, we had the pleasure of going to St Clare's annual ball in January.
This year,
and they do this fantastic event where you get the opportunity to bid for flash things, if you like. There was a plane flight
till a 2K for lunch
and all this sort of stuff going on, but we couldn't afford that actually. But what we bid for and won was a gourmet lunch. Yeah, that's what you've just had. So we paid for it. Yeah, months ago.
You paid for it yesterday.
Yeah, I'm good.
Gourmet lunch. So it just shows some of the fantastic things that St Clare do. But we said, we've won this, what on earth are we going to do with it? So I'm not sure it was me, it was somebody, it might have been this chap, said, well, why don't you try and get a few people together and redo it, if you like. So I thought I'd just give you also a bit of background around HTS and what is the relationship with St Clare Hospice, because it's an important issue. Lots of commercial businesses will probably won't necessarily look at social value. They think of bottom line profit and getting the job done and all this sort of stuff, which is all laudable stuff, and that's exactly what we do. We employ about 350 people, 70% of which live in Harlow. They probably have a good few of them, I have to say, sadly, have had family members that have received St Clare's services. So we asked them when we set the company up, we need a charity to support. Tell us who you want us to support. So our employees told us support St Clare. So last year we proudly raised nearly 10 grand, 9,000 odd pounds. And that wasn't raised by HTS putting its hand in its corporate pocket saying, here is 9 grand to St Clare. There was a little bit of that, but not a lot. Vast majority was raised by our staff going the extra mile and doing stuff themselves. So we have Easter cake baking days, Christmas burgers for the guys going out in their vans and this sort of stuff, and a whole range of things. Climbing mountains. Tim and a few colleagues did 3 peaks. Did 3 peaks challenge last year, raising money, and it's all about people's efforts. It really does inspire your employees to go that extra mile because they feel they really truly get something out of it. So on the subject of social value, more and more, if I know we're not a stock exchange registered company, but you must aspire to be. If you look at the stock exchange now, one of the barometers they use around a thumbs up for a corporate company is what social value do they bring from the activities they deliver. So from the kick-off with HTS, we thought we're going to have to measure our social value. So Tim had this bright idea of saying, well, we know our individuals are charged out by an hour. So if somebody gives an hour to somebody doing some work experience, we'll log that hour as a social value hour. And at the end of the year, we totted up 80 grand, 90 grand of social value. And then talking to industry generally, we found out that, for example, if you're a housing association in the UK, you've got and we're not, but a housing association has got a legal obligation to report their social value. And there's a method by which it's done, and there's an organisation called HAT, Housing Association Charitable Trust, who have got a government-agreed method of measuring social value. So we got them in and asked them, we did this last year, we did that last year, we did this, we went to St Clare's Ball and did this and da-da-da. And they came back with a report that says, actually, you've delivered £1.12 million worth of social value. So we underestimated it, didn't we? But what that means is, when we're tendering for work and ask that question around what social value do you add, we can wax lyrical about that. So, what today's about, there's a few of you that run businesses and what have you. business leaders. What I'd ask you to do is go out and spread the word about St Clare Hospice, because it is a fantastic place, does some fantastic work. But talk to them about adding social value. And think about it yourselves as well. I mean, you might want to put a few quid in the bucket today, but actually what I'd reckon would be a success of this day is if one or two of you said, well, actually, we're going to look and see what we can do with our people to support St Clare. So that was it.
How can I follow that? Thank you.
Sure you can.
Firstly, I must say thank you to John and to Michael for choosing to do this here, and thank you so much also to HTS for supporting us. It really is a partnership, and actually talking about social capital and partnerships, this is very much how the hospice started. So next year we celebrate our 30th anniversary as a hospice, and so I've been thinking a lot about how we were set up by local community people who were really passionate and determined to make a difference to people who were dying in West Essex. They decided that if you were dying in West Essex, what you got was probably not good enough, and that is how St Clare Hospice started. And so I've been thinking a lot about partnerships and coming together, and we've put partnerships very much at the heart of our new strategic principles. So very much about working in partnership with the community, with businesses, with our supporters, because we are very much an organisation that's for local people. We are run by local people, staffed and volunteered by local people. We have 140 local people who are members of staff and 550 people who volunteer for us in every aspect of hospice life. And frankly, we can't do it without any of you. Nothing would be possible without the support of our local community. And so that is why when things like this happen, I'm really delighted and humbled by that. So thank you for choosing us. St Clare Hospice, we're probably best known for our 8 inpatient beds here. But and you might think, well, that's rather small, and is that enough? And aren't you thinking about doing more? But actually, we're very lucky with this beautiful building and lovely surroundings. But actually, most of our care actually happens out in the community. It's in people's homes, in care homes. We support the local hospital as well by a team of doctors who are going into Harlow Hospital and providing support to the nurses and the doctors in the hospital, because we are the experts in end-of-life care. Yeah. And death comes to us all. It's one thing we can rely on, particularly
taxes.
And taxes in these uncertain times. So care of the dying, and talking about death and dying, death is still one of those taboos that's really difficult for people to talk about. But here at the hospice, we really support and encourage people to talk about death and dying, because actually, if people talk about it and understand what they want for the end of life, it's much easier for families to ensure that your wishes are met. And so that is one of the things that we're really thinking about, is how we support local communities to become more resilient and stronger around the issues of death and dying. So in the last year we've set up bereavement cafes to, we have counsellors, yes of course, and that's important for those people who need one-to-one support and therapy, but actually not everybody wants counselling, but they would like to meet up with other people who are experiencing the same things as they are. And so meeting over a cup of coffee and a slice of cake and sharing experiences without therapy, but maybe a box of tissues, is very much the way that people want to go. We've also set up a Compassionate Neighbours project in the last year, where we now have nearly 70 people who are trained volunteers who will go and be with you in your home when you are dying, and make sure that you're not lonely, because of course when you are very seriously ill, you are at your most vulnerable point, and often that's when your social networks disappear because you can't get out of the house anymore. So it's all of those things we are pulling together, because we really believe that the experience of people who are dying in West Essex should be much better than it is right now. And the very first strategic aim and principle that we have is to reach significantly more people. Hospice care is often thought about as a Rolls-Royce service for a very small number of people, and I don't think that's fair, because I worry about those people who are dying in our hospital, dying in care homes. I worry about those people who are dying, falling through the net when they're at home. And so we are doing a lot of work around how we reach significantly more people in our services. And that is where people like you come in. So we're really looking for individuals, businesses and community groups to come and support the hospice in what we are doing, because we believe it's really important. We are an important, I think, charity in this area, but we are so reliant on your support. It costs about £5.5 million to deliver all the services that we need to deliver in West Essex, and that's probably only going to grow. We only get 39% of that from the government, so everything else we have to raise ourselves, and that is going to grow over time as costs go up. So your support is really important to help us raise. We need £7,000 a day to keep our services and keep our nurses on the road, serving in people's homes. So that's why I think it's really important to support us. So
That's good.
fantastic.
I think you followed that quite well.
Thank you.
Well done.
So,